The Galactic Assembly Hall was one of the largest structures ever built by living minds. It floated in space like a shining crystal sphere, surrounded by gentle blue shields and rings of small patrol ships. Every species in the assembly respected this place. It was where important decisions were made, where peace was kept, and where old conflicts were solved. Inside the hall, thousands of seats formed a perfect circle, with each species having a place of their own. On this day, the hall was more crowded than usual. There was tension in the air, a quiet feeling that something big was about to happen. Delegates whispered to each other, their voices low and uncertain. Even the air circulation made a soft humming sound that felt heavier than normal. Among the many aliens present, one figure stood out in particular, Ambassador Vreln of the Jorian Union. His tall, thin frame and soft silver skin glowed faintly under the chamber lights. Vreln was known across the assembly as a calm thinker, a careful listener, and a scholar who valued truth more than power. But today, he was anything but calm. His four eyes kept scanning the room, searching for answers, trying to understand the rising anxiety. Something unusual was happening. Rumors had spread quickly. A human was coming. Vreln had heard the rumors that morning. Humans rarely came to the assembly in person. They usually sent messages or small representatives, never high-ranking officers. Humans only arrived physically when something very important was happening. Vreln remembered the last time. It was during the Great Resource Crisis, and the humans had helped solve it with new technology. "Do you think the rumor is real?" asked a small bird-like alien next to him. It was a member of the Shillari Choir, a species known for sharp hearing and stronger curiosity. Vreln kept his eyes on the entrance door. "I do not trust rumors," he said softly, "but the nervous energy in this room is not normal. Something is different." A deep, echoing horn sounded across the hall, making the walls vibrate gently. Every species went silent immediately. The entrance door slowly opened. Two guards stepped inside first, their uniforms showing symbols of Earth's united fleet. Their expressionless faces made the tension grow. Behind them walked a single figure, a human male, dressed in a simple dark uniform with a silver stripe across the chest. His name was Captain Elias Ward. As soon as Vreln saw him, he froze. The human's steps were slow but firm, and his eyes scanned the room with calm awareness. Elias did not look afraid. He did not look uncertain. Instead, he carried the expression of someone who knew exactly why he was here. And that alone terrified Vreln. Humans were known for many things. They were brave, curious, stubborn, and sometimes unpredictable. But they were also known for carrying secrets, deep secrets about their history, their discoveries, and their strange ability to survive impossible situations. When a human like Elias arrived in person, it meant the galaxy was about to learn something serious. Vreln felt a cold wave of fear run across his skin. The Shillari next to him whispered, "Why does he look so calm? It scares me." "Because humans hide their fear," Vreln replied quietly. "When they look calm, something important is happening." Captain Elias walked to the center of the hall. He stopped on the glowing platform that marked the speaker's position. His voice, when he finally spoke, was steady and clear. "Members of the Galactic Assembly," he began, "thank you for allowing me to speak on short notice. I come with information that concerns all of us." The hall remained silent. Many delegates leaned forward, curious or afraid. Vreln could feel the atmosphere getting heavier. He watched Elias closely. The human's face showed no anger, no stress, only purpose. Elias pressed a small device on his wrist. A hologram lit up in the middle of the hall, showing a massive dark shape floating in deep space. "This," Elias said, "is what we found near the border of unexplored space." The shape was large, larger than most ships. Its surface was made of strange patterns and glowing lines. Some aliens gasped softly. Others narrowed their eyes, unsure. Vrelen leaned forward. Something about the structure felt familiar, like something he had seen long ago in old Zorian records. But he could not remember exactly what. "What is it?" asked a delegate from the Zelkar Dominion. Elias answered calmly. "It is part of an ancient machine network, a system older than our combined civilizations, a system that should have stayed inactive." A ripple of shock went through the hall. Some delegates whispered. Others looked around with confusion. Elias continued. "For thousands of years, this network remained silent. But recently it began to move again. It is changing course. It is awakening." Vrelen felt the fear inside him grow. He had studied many ancient records, many warnings from past ages. But seeing something like this, real and proven, made his heart tighten. "How do humans know about this?" asked another delegate. Elias raised his hand, clicking another hologram. This one showed human scientists, old deep space maps, and energy signatures. "For years," Elias explained, "we have been tracking strange signals from the far edges of space. We kept this quiet because we were not sure what we were dealing with. But then the patterns became clear. Something was waking up. Some aliens began murmuring angrily. Others looked frightened." Vrelen felt his own mind racing. If humans were revealing this now, it meant they had been preparing something. Humans did not come with warnings unless they had already tried to find a solution. And if the humans were bringing this truth here, in the center of the assembly, it meant the problem was too big for them to handle alone. Elias's expression hardened just a little, though he still looked calm. "The truth," he said slowly, "was locked away for a long time. But now it is loose, and we cannot ignore it." The hall grew absolutely silent. No one moved. No one spoke. Even the air felt still. Vrelen finally understood the fear he felt when Elias entered. It was not because humans were dangerous. It was because humans knew something dangerous was already coming. The Shalari delegate beside Vrelen whispered, "Is there no mistake? Could the humans be wrong?" Vrelen shook his head. "Humans do not bring fear to us without reason. If he is here, then the threat is real." Elias continued speaking, explaining the strange signals, the energy readings, and the movement of the machine network. He did not raise his voice. He did not try to frighten anyone. He spoke simply, clearly, honestly, but his words carried heavy meaning. At one point, Elias looked around the hall, his gaze meeting the eyes of many species. "We must stand together," he said. "This is not a human problem. This is a galaxy problem. If we act early, we can stop what is coming. If we delay, the cost will be far greater." Vrelen's heart beat faster. He could feel the truth in Elias's voice. Humans did not exaggerate threats like this. They were not seeking attention or power. They were warning everyone, and the warning was real. When Elias finished speaking and the hologram faded, the hall remained silent for a long moment. Everyone seemed frozen, unsure how to respond. Finally, Vrelen slowly stood. "Captain Elias," he said, his voice steady but concerned, "you said the truth is loose. Tell us plainly. How much time do we have?" Elias looked at him, his eyes calm but serious. "Not enough," he answered, "but enough to act, if we start now." The entire hall felt a deep shiver. For the first time in centuries, every species understood something important. A human had come in person, which meant the galaxy was in real danger. The Galactic Assembly did not return to normal after Captain Elias Ward finished his speech. The hall remained filled with quiet fear, silent thinking, and heavy tension. Delegates whispered to each other, trying to understand the meaning of the human's warning. Some doubted it. Some believed it. Some were simply too shocked to to speak. Ambassador Vreln stayed in his seat for a long moment, staring at the fading hologram of the ancient machine network. His mind felt crowded with thoughts. He was a scholar of old records, someone who spent years studying lost civilizations. And something about the shape of that machine, something about the patterns on its surface, felt familiar to him. It was like a memory hidden behind a curtain. Vreln finally stood and made his way down to the lower platform, where Captain Elias waited. The human was quietly adjusting the device on his wrist, preparing more data for the Assembly's science councils. "Captain Elias," Vreln said, his voice respectful but full of worry. "Your information, it feels similar to an old Zorian record I once studied, but the record was incomplete. May I see more details?" Elias nodded kindly. "Of course. We need all knowledge we can gather." He tapped his wrist device again. Another hologram appeared, but this time it showed diagrams, energy readings, and strange symbols. Vreln leaned closer, focusing his 4 eyes on the symbols. His breath caught. He recognized them. "These symbols," he whispered, "are older than my people. They come from a lost age. I saw them once in a broken archive cube. It warned about silent machines that wait in the dark." Elias's eyebrows rose slightly. "Your record described them as well?" "Yes," Vreln answered, feeling a nervous shiver run through him. "But most of the record was damaged. I never imagined they were real." Elias gave him a steady look. "They are real. And they're moving." Vreln felt the weight of those words settle heavily on him. As more delegates gathered around, the hall filled with soft arguments. A heavy-voiced reptilian leader growled, "How can we trust human data? Maybe it is only a natural object. Maybe humans panic too fast." A tall, crystalline creature replied, "Humans do not panic. They prepare. If they say a threat is coming, we should listen." Another delegate pointed at the hologram. "But what does it want? Why is it moving?" No one had an answer. Elias raised a hand, calming the room. His voice remained steady. "We do not yet know its full purpose, but we do know this. Every time it changes direction, it moves toward populated systems." Fear rippled across the hall again. Vreln stepped forward. "I can confirm what Captain Elias says. The ancient record I studied included a phrase, 'When darkness turns, life must be ready.' I believe the machines become active when they detect large energy use, and our galaxy is full of life now." The delegates grew even more silent. The human continued. "We found traces of similar structures on 3 dead worlds. We believe they were destroyed long ago by the same machine network." A small aquatic delegate trembled. "Destroyed? Completely?" "Yes," Elias replied softly. "Not a single building or living thing remained." Vreln noticed how Elias's voice held quiet sorrow. Humans felt deeply, even if they hid their fear. They understood loss, and they respected life, even alien life. A metallic-skinned alien raised a hand. "Why did humans not share this sooner?" Elias answered without hesitation. "We were not sure. The signals were weak, and the machines were still dormant. We did not want to cause panic in the galaxy until we had proof. Once we confirmed the network was awakening, we came here immediately." Some aliens murmured in agreement. Others crossed their arms in uncertainty. Vreln studied the human carefully. Elias did not look proud. He did not try to make humans look superior. He simply explained the situation with calm honesty. That was something Vreln respected. Before anything else could be said, the assembly's central lights flashed twice. A deep voice echoed from the hall's control system. "Delegates, please return to your seats. Emergency discussion will begin." Everyone slowly moved back to their positions. The lights dimmed slightly, and the central table glowed blue, ready for formal debate. The first chair of the assembly, a tall being with 3 luminous eyes, stood proudly in the center. We have heard the human warning. Now we must decide how to respond. A horn sounded softly, opening the floor for discussion. The first speaker was from the Rulvak Empire, a species known for strong pride. Humans have always acted independently. They build things in secret, explore without permission, and never share full details. How can we trust that this threat is real? Many eyes turned toward Elias. The human remained calm. You are free not to trust us, but the threat is not waiting for trust. It is real whether you believe it or not. The Rulvak leader frowned, but could not argue. Next, a gentle-voiced delegate from the Cillian collective spoke. The humans risked their own colonies by researching this machine network. They kept their people near dangerous signals. Why would they do that if the threat was fake? They would not endanger their own kind. The hall murmured with agreement. Then Vreln requested to speak. The first chair allowed him. He stepped forward. I have studied many ancient records in my life, long-lost histories of many worlds. The machines Captain Elias speaks of appear in stories across different cultures. They are not new. They are old, very old, older than any of us. We have ignored the warnings for too long. A deep silence followed his words. Elias nodded at Vreln in gratitude. The first chair looked around. We must decide if we will investigate this machine network as one united assembly. At that moment, the lights flickered. A new hologram appeared, sent from an outer listening station near the uncharted border. The hologram showed a small satellite spinning wildly, broadcasting emergency signals. Elias quickly stepped forward. Play the message. The recording began. A frightened voice crackled through static. This is Outpost Theta 9. We detected massive energy spikes. Something huge is passing through the deep void. It is not natural. The message cut off. The hall gasped. The recording replayed automatically, but the end remained the same. Silence. No final report. No explanation. Just nothing. Elias turned to the assembly. This is one of the border stations closest to the machine network. They would not go silent unless something serious happened. The first chair took a long breath. It seems the threat is approaching. A tremor of fear spread through the hall. A small, trembling alien asked, "What will the machines do when they reach inhabited space?" Elias answered carefully, choosing his words with care. We do not know for certain, but based on the dead worlds we studied, they do not communicate. They do not negotiate. They simply pass through, and everything is gone after. The hall went completely quiet. Vreln felt the weight of truth settle heavily on him again. The ancient warning, the strange symbols, the lost records, they were all real. The machines in the dark were not myths. They were coming. The first chair raised a hand. We must gather a scientific council. We must combine our knowledge. We must prepare. Elias nodded. Humans are ready to share everything we know. We cannot solve this alone. But together, we have a chance. Vreln felt a spark of hope inside him. For the first time since the day began, he believed unity might be possible. The galaxy was full of different minds, different languages, different cultures, but perhaps that diversity was their strength. The first chair concluded the session. We will reconvene soon. In the meantime, prepare your worlds. The truth has been revealed. We cannot return to silence. As the delegates stood to leave, Vreln walked beside Captain Elias. You humans, Vreln said softly. You always hide your fear, but you do not hide your duty. That is why you came, yes? Elias gave a small, serious smile. We came because the truth is loose now, and once it is loose, we have to face it together. Vreln nodded slowly. He felt both fear and respect for the human beside him, The galaxy was changing, and the humans were standing at the front, ready to face the darkness. The next day, the Galactic Assembly Hall felt different. There was still fear of the ancient machine network and the missing outpost, but something new had appeared as well. It was the beginning of cooperation. Delegates were forming groups, sharing ideas, and discussing what steps to take next. But even with this new cooperation, one question echoed through the entire station. How much did the humans really know? Captain Elias Ward had not revealed everything yet. Not because he wanted to hide the truth, but because the assembly needed time to understand the scale of the danger. Now that they understood it was real, Elias was ready to share more. He stood in a private conference room with holographic screens surrounding him. Maps of deep space, energy patterns, and old Earth records floated in the air. A group of scientists from different species sat across from him, including Ambassador Vreln. Vreln watched Elias closely. He could sense the human was preparing to reveal something important, something the humans had kept secret for years. Elias took a deep breath and began. "Humanity has been preparing for this for a long time," he said. "Much longer than we ever admitted." The room fell silent. A mechanical-skinned scientist asked, "Preparing? What do you mean? The machine network only recently awakened." Elias shook his head. "We discovered old signals almost 60 years ago. At first, they were small distortions in deep space. Nothing clear. But humans studied them carefully. We built silent listening posts near the unexplored borders. We placed probes in the dark void. We prepared." Vreln felt a chill run down his spine. "So you knew something was coming all this time?" Vreln asked softly. Elias sighed. "We knew something existed, but we didn't know what it was. We could not bring half-formed warnings to the assembly. You all know how fast panic spreads here. We didn't want to overwhelm the galaxy without proof." A crystalline scientist nodded slowly. "You tried to avoid making us afraid." Elias nodded. "Yes. But when the signals grew stronger, we realized we didn't have the luxury of silence anymore." Another hologram activated, showing a human starbase. Massive, heavily protected, and surrounded by glowing defense grids. "This is Fort Horizon," Elias explained. "Built 40 years ago. It was created because we suspected something dangerous lived out there." Vreln stared at the image. "Your people built this without telling anyone?" "Yes," Elias answered honestly. "We needed time to understand the threat. We did not want to cause chaos in the assembly." A reptilian scientist clicked her claws. "And what did you learn?" The human tapped the hologram. The image changed to show several destroyed probes, wreckage floating in empty space. "We learned that the machine network reacts to technology. Our probes vanished, our satellites disappeared, even our stealth drones came back damaged or incomplete." He paused. Something was testing us. The room went still. Vreln sat up straighter. "Testing you? For what?" Elias met his eyes. "To see if we were advanced enough to be a threat, or a target." Vreln felt a wave of unease wash over him. Humans had faced countless dangers throughout their history. But the idea of a machine network checking them, studying them, felt deeply unsettling. Elias continued. "When we realized the signals were moving, we began building long-range forts, deep space beacons, and emergency shelters. Everything was built quietly. Even our own civilians did not know the full truth." One of the smaller aliens asked, "Why keep it secret from your own people?" Elias looked tired for the first time. "Humanity has endured many hard times. Our people deserve peace. We didn't want them to live in constant fear of something ancient and unknown." Vreln found himself respecting the human even more. Humans might seem bold, but they protected their own with great effort. Another hologram lit up, showing dozens of human rescue ships. "We also built these," Elias said. "High-speed rescue vessels. In case any world, human or alien, was in danger." A murmur of shock spread around the room. "You built rescue ships for other species too?" asked a tall, fur-covered delegate. Elias nodded firmly. "The danger is not just for humans. If the machines awaken fully, they will sweep across the galaxy. We cannot survive alone. So we prepared to help others." Vreln felt something inside him soften with respect. He had always believed that humans were unpredictable and emotional. But he now saw something deeper. Humans were planners. Humans were protectors. Humans were willing to prepare for problems no one else could imagine. Vreln raised a hand. "May I ask a direct question, Captain Elias?" "Of course," Elias replied. "You humans," Vreln said carefully, "seem more prepared than any species here. You built forts, listened to signals, and created rescue ships. But why go so far? What gave you the idea that the galaxy might face such a threat?" Elias paused for a long moment. He clicked another hologram. This time, it showed old Earth videos, humans working together during disasters, building shelters, saving each other, and surviving as a species. "Because," Elias said softly, "our history taught us something important. Humans survive by preparing. We have faced storms, disease, wars, asteroids, and dangerous environments. Every time we learned something new. We learned never to wait for danger to reach us." He turned off the hologram and looked at the room with calm seriousness. "When we discovered the ancient signals, our instincts told us to be ready, even if no one else believed us yet." A short Sarlan scientist spoke up. "And now the signals are stronger." Elias nodded. "Much stronger. The machine network is moving toward inhabited space, not by accident. It feels intentional." The scientists exchanged worried glances. Vreln leaned forward, his voice low. "Captain Elias, do you know what the machines want?" Elias looked down for a moment as if searching for the right words. "We don't know exactly," he said finally. "But based on the dead worlds we found, they don't communicate. They don't negotiate. They simply move forward. And everything disappears after." A quiet chill filled the room. Vreln's skin grew cold. He remembered the ancient Zorian archive cube, the one full of broken warnings. He had always believed it was only old myth. But now he understood. The machines were real, and they had destroyed civilizations before. A young alien scientist asked nervously, "What is your plan, Captain? Humans never warn us unless you already have a plan." Elias allowed a small, determined smile. "Yes, we have a plan, but it is not complete without the Assembly's support." The screens around him shifted again, forming a map of the galaxy. "We propose building a joint task force," Elias said. "A fleet combining humans and all willing species. Not to fight yet, but to study, track, and prepare defenses. We need shared knowledge." Vreln nodded thoughtfully. "Unity, something we rarely achieve." "Maybe this time we will," Elias replied. "Because this time, the threat is bigger than our differences." The crystalline scientist asked, "What if some species refuse?" Elias answered simply, "We protect them anyway. No one deserves destruction." Vreln smiled faintly. "Humans always surprise me." Elias shrugged lightly. "We try." Just then, the door slid open and a messenger rushed in. "Captain Elias, Ambassador Vreln, the Assembly is calling for you. They want to move forward with the emergency meeting." Elias nodded. "Good, we're ready." Vreln walked beside the human as they left the room. "You humans," Vreln said softly, "you prepare for danger silently, but when the time comes, you stand at the front." Elias replied, "Someone has to." As they stepped into the grand hall again, the delegates looked at them with new understanding. Not fear, not suspicion, but respect. The galaxy had many strong species, but humans were different. They did not wait for danger. They prepared for it. And now, with the machine network awakening, the galaxy was finally beginning to see the truth. Humanity's unspoken plan had always been to protect everyone, not just themselves. The station lights flickered again as Captain Rhea Hale walked through the long metal hallway with firm steps. Her eyes were sharp, her posture steady, and her mind focused. Anyone watching her would think she was calm, but inside her thoughts were racing. She already knew what the alien council tried to hide. She already knew what they feared. And now, she needed proof. Behind her, two humans followed. Lieutenant Mason Grant and Dr. Lena Park. Both carried small scanners, their eyes alert and careful. The events from earlier still echoed in their minds. The panicked aliens, the strange reaction to human presence, the whispers about some truth escaping its cage. Rhea could still hear the fear in Elder Varun's voice. "You humans should not exist the way you do. Your history is wrong. The universe knows it. We fear what will happen when you discover why." But he refused to explain more. So now, Rhea had to find the answers herself. The old wing. The trio reached the oldest part of the station, a dim, cold place that had been locked for centuries. The door was covered with dust, and there were warning signs in different alien languages. Mason scanned the panel. "Captain, the security level on this door is extremely high. Looks like only the council members can open it." "Then we open it anyway," she replied. Lena stepped forward with her tool. She pressed 3 thin metal cables into the control panel. "This will take a moment," she whispered. The lights on the panel blinked. The metal door groaned like something inside did not want to be disturbed. Mason kept watch behind them. "Do you think they hid something dangerous here?" Rhea nodded slowly. "Yes, but not dangerous to us." He frowned. "Then dangerous to them?" Her silence was the answer. A loud click echoed and the door slid open with a cold hiss. A wave of stale, icy air rushed over them. Inside, the room was completely dark. Rhea lifted her wrist light and stepped in. The Room of Forgotten Records. The lights revealed rows of machines, old screens, and floating crystal data cores. Everything looked untouched for a long time. "These are archives," Lena said softly. "Extremely old ones." Rhea moved to the center platform where a circular device stood with a dusty control panel. "This is where they stored the truth," she murmured. Mason walked around the platform, scanning the machines. "Captain, there is something strange. These machines were built long before humans even made fire." Rhea wasn't surprised. "We weren't supposed to find this place," she said. "At least not yet." With slow hands, she wiped the dust from the control panel. The machine came alive with a soft vibration, and a hologram flickered into existence above the platform. It showed planets, hundreds of them. Then it zoomed to a single blue world, Earth. Lena gasped. Mason froze. The hologram shifted again, and something unbelievable appeared. The first travelers. A group of tall figures stood around a bright machine in the projection. Their bodies were thin, their limbs long, and their eyes bright silver. They looked nothing like humans, but the machine behind them looked familiar. "A star gate," Mason whispered. "A very old one." Rhea watched quietly as the glowing arch opened, releasing waves of light. The tall beings stepped closer, carrying crystal objects. They placed them into the gate, and it pulsed like a living heart. Then the gate connected to a distant world, a lush, green world. Earth, but millions of years in the past. Lena held her breath. "Captain, they visited Earth before humans ever existed." The projection continued. The tall beings released a soft mist from the crystals. The mist drifted over early Earth, touching the oceans, hills, and forests. Then the hologram displayed a message in translated text. Seed the new world. Let life rise. Let it grow stronger. Let it surpass us. Mason took a step back. They created us. Rhea slowly shook her head. No. They influenced Earth's evolution. They made sure life developed in a certain direction. But why? Lena asked. The projection answered. The fear of the creators. A new message flashed. If our kind falls, let another rise. Let them hold the strength we lack. The tall beings were now shown in battle, running from enormous creatures of metal and fire. The projection showed their cities collapsing, their worlds falling, their species dying. They were hunted, Mason whispered. Rhea's voice was low. They made us to become what they could not be. Survivors. Another line appeared. The humans will be our legacy. They will carry our missing strength. They will rise against any threat, even when all others fall. Lena covered her mouth. They designed humans to be unstoppable? Rhea nodded. Not designed, guided, influenced. But yes, they knew humanity would grow strong. Mason swallowed hard. Then why hide it? The projection switched one last time. It showed alien species, different ones, studying Earth, watching humans grow. Fear slowly appeared in their eyes. Then a message. The humans must never learn the truth. If they do, the universe will tremble. The hologram shut down. The room fell silent. The weight of truth. For a long moment, none of them spoke. Mason finally whispered, Captain, this changes everything. Rhea touched the platform, feeling its cold surface. Now we know why the Council fears us, she said. Humans were born on Earth, but shaped by a dying ancient species. We carry strength they wanted to pass on. Lena shook her head slowly. But humans never became perfect. We fought wars. We made mistakes. And we survived all of it, Rhea said. We always get back up. That is what they were trying to create. Mason's voice was thoughtful. So the universe fears humans not because of what we are, but because of what we could become. Rhea's eyes hardened. And now that the truth is loose, they think something terrible will happen. Lena looked at her. Do you think something will? Rhea breathed in the cold air. Yes. Because if the universe kept this secret for millions of years, whatever they're hiding next must be even bigger. The alarm. Awakens. Suddenly, a loud siren echoed through the old archive. Red lights flashed. The door behind them began to close automatically. Captain, the station security detected the archive activation, Mason shouted. Lena grabbed her tools. They're sealing us inside. Rhea ran to the exit, but the door was already halfway down. Mason pushed against it, but the heavy metal didn't move. Then a voice came through the station speakers, the voice of Elder Varun. Humans, you were not meant to see this. Please step away from the archive. We cannot allow the truth to spread. Rhea stepped in front of the speaker. Elder, we are not your enemy. His voice trembled. You do not understand. Your kind was made to rise in times of ruin, but if you rise now, the universe will break. Then explain, she said sharply. The elder's voice dropped to a whisper. You saw only the beginning of the secret. Your creators did not just shape you. They built something within you. Rhea froze. What do you mean, within us? But the elder didn't answer. Escape from the sealed wing. The metal door finally slammed shut with a heavy thud. They were locked inside. Mason checked his scanner. We have maybe 10 minutes before they send a containment squad. Lena's hands shook slightly. Captain, what do we do? Rhea looked around the room, at the ancient machines, at the glowing data crystals, at the truth the aliens tried so hard to bury. "We take everything," she said. "If the universe will tremble, then let it tremble with truth, not fear." She lifted one of the floating crystal cores. It glowed softly in her hand. Mason stared at her. "We're going to expose the truth?" Rhea nodded. But she didn't say the rest. Because if they fear what lives inside humanity, we must learn what it is before anyone else does. The walls of the old archive hummed with tension as Captain Rhea Hale stood in the dim red glow of the emergency lights. The truth she had just discovered still echoed loudly in her mind. Humanity was never meant to be ordinary. Humans carried something ancient, something powerful, something the rest of the universe feared. And now the aliens knew she had seen it. Mason Grant paced in front of the sealed metal door, checking his scanner again and again. "Captain, we have 8 minutes before the containment team arrives. Their orders won't be friendly." Lena Park was already packing the floating crystal data cores into a small protective case. "I don't think they will negotiate," she whispered. "They're afraid we will tell everyone." Rhea nodded. "We will. The truth belongs to all of humanity, not just an alien council." But as she said the words, she felt the weight of them. If they fear us so much, what exactly lies inside us that we don't know? The voice of the Elder. The loudspeaker crackled again. Elder Varun's voice came through, tired, stressed, almost pleading. "Captain Hale, please listen. I do not want harm, but you must understand, your creators left something unfinished inside human biology. Something sleeping, waiting. If it wakes without guidance, it could change everything." Rhea looked up at the speaker. "What is it?" she demanded. His voice shook. "A code." "A code for what?" Silence stretched. Then he spoke again. "A code that grows with human struggle. A code that strengthens when humans face danger. The more hardship humans survive, the more the code awakens." Mason's eyes widened. "You mean humans evolve faster because of this?" "Yes," Varun said. "Your kind adapts in ways no other species can. You learn rapidly. You grow rapidly. You overcome things that should take thousands of years," Lena whispered. "That's why humans survive so many disasters on Earth." "And why other species fear you," the Elder added. Rhea clenched her jaw. "If the code only helps us survive, why are you so scared of it?" There was a long pause. Then Varun answered with a heavy truth. "Because your creators made the code stronger than themselves, and they were already the most advanced beings in their age. They did not fall because they were weak. They fell because their enemy feared their creations even more." Mason stepped back. "Their enemy? Is it still alive?" The Elder spoke slowly. "Yes." The temperature in the room seemed to drop. The enemy that never died, Rhea inhaled sharply. "Elder? What kind of enemy can destroy a civilization that shaped entire planets?" "The kind that does not stop," Varun whispered. "The kind that waits in the dark between galaxies. The kind your creators tried to resist for millions of years." His voice wavered. "They feared the humans would face the same enemy one day. They made you strong for a reason. But if the code awakens too early, the enemy will sense it. And they will come." Rhea exchanged looks with Mason and Lena. "So that's why you kept the truth hidden," she said. "You think if humans learn who we really are, the code will awaken, and the enemy will notice." "Yes, Captain Hale. And if they return, no one will be ready." Rhea closed her eyes, then opened them with calm determination. "Then we must be ready." Breaking out. The heavy metal door behind them shook as the containment team began to unlock it. Rhea grabbed her weapon, not to attack, but because she knew they would try to take the crystals by force. Mason checked his scanner. "They're bringing cutting tools. We have maybe 1 minute." Lena clutched the crystal case. "Captain, if we get arrested, they'll erase all this." Rhea turned to them, her expression firm but calm. "We're not staying here." She walked to the back wall of the archive, a wall covered in old panels and wires. She kicked a panel open. Behind it was a maintenance tunnel. Mason blinked. "Captain, how did you know that was there?" Rhea gave a faint smile. "Human instinct." The tunnel was small, dark, and cold, but it led upward toward the less secure areas of the station. "Move," she said. They crawled in. The metal tunnel echoed softly with each breath. Behind them, the archive door finally burst open. Voices shouted. But by then, Rhea and her team were already gone. The chase across the station. They emerged into a maintenance corridor filled with pipes, wires, and flickering lights. The alarm still rang across the station. Mason ran beside Rhea, checking the map on his wrist. "Captain, if we follow this path, we can reach Dock 7. Our ship is still there." "Good," Rhea said. "We leave immediately." Lena looked worried. "Will the aliens try to stop our ship?" "Probably," Rhea answered. "But we'll outrun them." They ran through the corridor as the station lights turned red, switching into full alert mode. Alien guards filled the hallways, running toward the lower levels. But none expected humans to be escaping through maintenance areas. The team reached a ladder. Rhea climbed first. The tunnel above led directly to the docking bay ventilation system. Mason climbed next, then Lena. The tunnel was narrow, but they kept going. Every second counted. When they finally reached the vent above Dock 7, Rhea kicked it open. The docking bay was below them, huge, filled with ships of all shapes and colors. Their ship, the Astra's wing, sat quietly in its corner. But dozens of alien guards were already gathering near it. Lena whispered, "There's no way through them quietly." Rhea nodded. "Then we won't be quiet." The human spark. Rhea dropped down from the vent. She landed hard but steady. The guards turned immediately, their weapons raised in alarm. Mason jumped down next. Lena followed, gripping the crystal case tightly. The guards shouted warnings, telling them to surrender. Rhea stepped forward, raising her hands, but not to surrender. She spoke with calm strength. "You fear what sleeps inside humanity, but that fear is based on misunderstanding. We do not want war. We do not want to rise above others. We only want truth." The guards hesitated. She continued. "If my creators made humans strong, then that strength is meant to protect, not destroy." Her voice echoed through the bay. "We will not activate the code without understanding it. We will not threaten anyone. But we will not let fear bury our history either." Silence. Then Elder Varun himself stepped forward. The old alien looked at Rhea with troubled, thoughtful eyes. "You truly believe humans can handle this truth?" Rhea nodded. "I believe humans grow stronger when they face truth, not when they hide from it." He stared at her for a long moment. Then slowly, he lowered his staff, and he spoke softly. "Go. But promise me one thing." Rhea met his gaze. "What promise?" "When the enemy returns, and they will return, do not let the code consume you. Guide it, shape it, use it with wisdom. That is what your creators could not do." Rhea bowed her head in respect. "I promise." Varun stepped aside. The guards lowered their weapons. The departure Rhea, Mason, and Lena ran up the ramp of the Astra's wing. The ship hummed to life as soon as Rhea touched the controls. "Engines ready," Mason reported. "Launch path clear," Lena added. Rhea took the pilot seat. The bay doors opened slowly as the ship lifted off the ground. Before the doors fully opened, Varun's voice reached them through the intercom. "Go, humans! The universe may fear you, but perhaps it also needs you." Rhea smiled faintly. "Thank you, Elder." The ship surged forward, leaving the station behind. Stars filled the screen. Space opened wide before them. And then, like a whisper in the dark, they felt something. A pulse. A vibration. A faint glow in their chests. Lena gasped. "Captain, is that—" Rhea answered calmly. Yes, the human code. Mason swallowed. It woke up. Just a little, Rhea said. It knows we learned the truth, but we will control it. She looked out at the stars, unchanged, but somehow different now that she knew what waited in the dark between galaxies. We will go to Earth, she said. We will share everything with humanity, and then... She tightened her grip on the controls. We prepare. The future begins. As the Astra's wing disappeared into the vast black of space, the universe remained silent. But far away, beyond known star systems, something old stirred, something that once destroyed Rhea's creators, something that felt the faint awakening of the human code. But this time, humanity would not face it unprepared. This time, humanity would rise.